Alright, what's good, YouTube? This is the first time I'm trying this style of content, so bear with me. Gonna play around with editing and sound and whatnot, but I figured I'd do a little day in the life kind of voiceover vlog style workout. Basically, currently I'm in a fat loss phase. I've got another 10 or so weeks. I want to be dieting, losing this fat. So this was a back day, and me and a friend of mine, we went to a different gym, one of the actually cooler gyms in town. Like, it was empty, there was nobody there, so I could film, play around with some different machines, different weights, and it was really fun. So I guess I'm just going to talk about and tell you how and why I structure my back days like this, what to do in the fat loss phase, and what am I doing now. So I'm training 4 to 5 times a week, kind of doing like upper and lower together, almost like whole body sessions with a few accessories being prioritized. So my arms being first in the order of exercise because I want to focus on them. So then they're the first thing I'll do in the training session. For example, like biceps and triceps instead of the end. I want a bit of more volume. So your training has to reflect your specificity and your goal, where you are basically, if you want to grow your glutes, you do the exercise that will grow you the most, that give you the biggest return on investment first, because you'll be fatigued by the end of the session. So naturally, I start off with my vertical pulls, and I'm doing. This was the first back session of the week, so I did 4 back exercises this session because I felt I had a strain in my shoulder that was affecting my pulling exercises on last weekend or something like that. So I couldn't do so much pulling earlier in the week, so I was kind of making up for it today. So 4 exercises for higher intensity, a bit more volume. And usually you want to run through a horizontal, a vertical row, and you'll be good. Then add maybe a single arm row exercise and manage your fatigue and eat enough and you'll recover. This was around 8 a.m., so we were powered by pre-workout caffeine and lots of Monster, of course. Except didn't empty, so it's nice. Sticking to about 18 to 2,000 calories, 1,800 to 2,000 calories on my deficit right now. I say that buffering because I walk a lot, especially with Goose, riding with my dog. I'll walk anything from 10,000 to 20,000 steps, so I can be allowing myself a bit of a buffer. I'm not doing any cardio. I don't think I need to do any cardio protocols because of all the walking I'm doing, like I said, and as long as I stick to my calories, I'll be fine. My day meal plans currently are, and I did the shopping in the grocery store video, so it's kind of the same meals. Like my breakfast is around 10 a.m., my oatmeal, give or take, and then I try and push my other meal, second meal or first lunch, I guess, around 2 p.m. So as of the time recording of this is midday, so I have about an hour or two before I have my lunch. So I can feel I'm hungry, so I've got some soda here, kind of killing that because that's the biggest thing, like when it comes to dieting, you have to fix the mindset that you are dieting in a fat loss phase for a little bit, maybe 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. You don't need to make this your whole personality, but you do have to adapt to it, right? You'll go hungrier, you'll think of food more, you'll have food noise, so caffeine, water, those things are super important to be around you. And training intensity, of course, right? Right. So I'm lifting as heavy as I can, I'm focusing on that. If I'm training this early, I'm having a banana or a rice cake with maybe some honey or actually jam recently. Just a bit of sugar, a bit of light carbs, and beginning to get things going. I want to drop down and really, really get lean to like single digit body fat for the first time in my life. I'm in the mid teens of body fat right now. Also, got to check this gym out. This gym is amazing. Honestly, really cool. I think I've got like 6 or 7 different leg extension machines, probably 15 ways to row your back in terms of plate, cable, and machine loaded exercises. So anything you could ever dream of is in this gym. In the beginning, it can be overwhelming. If you're new to the gym, even if you're more advanced, it can be overwhelming with the machines because you don't know what you want to do and what you want to use. So I started the workout with a vertical pull, so up and down, and now I have to do a horizontal pull, right? So chest supported row was my go-to. I tried this one out. It was kind of odd because it's like on a pivot on 2 hands instead of like single arm loose mechanism, but it worked really good. And then basically just loading up as heavy as I can, focusing, on the 3 sets, 8 to 12 rep range, kind of trying to leave 1 to 2 reps in reserve, nothing crazy. Intensity is super, super important, right? When you're in a deficit, you want to make sure you are kind of training as hard as you can to keep muscle tissue as much of it as you can. And then I'll add in maybe another single arm row or another horizontal row, depending on the day. Like I said, if I'm making up for any lost volume or fatigue. We had an argument here with my friend. I was like, how do you load your plates? And I was like, one has to be facing inwards and the other one has to be facing outwards. So it's good for videos. So you can't have them both facing inwards. It's also the rules of powerlifting, right? I've done powerlifting all my 20s, and a big part of it is, I guess, like lifting because you get lift heavy, so you feel like you're strong, so you can get away with stuff. So I'm not really focused on physique, and now I'm really understanding that doing less is important. I don't need to go less heavy. I need to focus on form, quality reps, eating less, not always stuffing my face is important. And it is achievable to get to lower body fat if you just slow it down and don't try so hard. I think growing up, and maybe this is trauma or whatever it is, but like growing up the way I grew up made me think about stressing and doing things all the time, kind of a try hard. But the best results, the people that have the best physiques, honestly, they don't really try that hard. It's actually doing less that works because you can sustain it. Because the more you do, the more you burn out, the more you crash, the more you repeat these cycles. And kind of get through this frustrating motion. So then, yeah, it was a cable pulley, kind of going for another horizontal row, I guess, if you could say. On this one, a big thing I see with people is that they don't lean forwards enough. They keep leaning backwards and putting pressure on their erectors, their traps. But the lean forwards is where you get the most stretch in your lats, and that's what's actually going to help you grow your back more. So that's when I teach people how to do rowing and coaching and all these things that lean forwards as much as you can and try and stay there. Now, if you're sore like me, say yesterday, hamstrings are gonna feel that leaning forwards, but it's just part of training. Like you're 90% of the time you spend, you're sore basically from the lifting from the day before, and it's just part of the journey, I guess. Another big thing I'm working on is, of course, recovery and sleep. I'm really trying to prioritize getting my 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So if that means going to bed earlier to keep the routine up, because I'm a morning person, honestly, it works really well for me. But you have to remember that a big part of it is also you end up cutting things out, right? So you might feel like it's lonely or you lose out on things because you're the boring friend that's going to bed at 9 p.m. instead of your friends having fun at 9 p.m. because it's summer. But there's always an excuse. There's always something happening. So you have to remember that your friends' goals maybe don't align with yours, and you have to prioritize yourself because if you don't put yourself first, if you don't prioritize yourself, no one really will. And that's, I think, kind of scary for people because they think that they have to make the time for everything. They want to be social, they want to be fit, they have to do these things, and in the end you kind of get good at nothing. I know that because I spent my 20s doing that. I was in a relationship, I wanted to be a good boyfriend, but I also wanted to train. So then if it was candy on the weekends, I just didn't know how to balance it. I'd never kind of know or knew how to put things together. But now I do. After living a long time by yourself, I've learned to prioritize myself and how to say no and also how to balance things because life is important to balance. Like I do go out with my friends. I am social. I don't miss out on that many things. It's not that deep and I'm still having a good time. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me and the training and my kind of head process, how I think. It was a really good session, honestly. I gave it everything I have, and then I did some want to be posing in the end. Actually, it was all right. I think that's definitely helping me stay in check because I'm being real with myself. And like I said, I'm in the high, maybe mid teens of body fat right now. I don't have a lot of it, but I do have a little bit, mostly the muffin top midsection. And I really want to get rid of that and actually show that I can stay there because I've gone lean. I've just never really stayed there properly, but I've never gone lean enough. So that's where I'm focusing on right now. That's the goals. That's the maintenance, and then after that, I'll go into maintenance. I'll go into maintenance stage. I'll make calories, and again, look at this gym, amazing. So once I'm in maintenance stage, I can enjoy more freedom, more friends, more food because you're not starving your body of its fuel because that's the whole point of a deficit. So I'm gonna leave the last minute and a half playing, working out arms, some core, and a bit of posing. This part is really sick as well. Like every different room in this gym is just something else to see. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.